Hantavirus is a family of viruses capable of causing serious, potentially fatal illness in humans worldwide. People typically contract the disease through direct exposure to infected rodents, specifically by coming into contact with their urine, droppings, or saliva. While various rodents can carry different strains globally, in the United States, the primary carrier to be aware of is the deer mouse. You can mitigate this risk. By executing a strict 3-step rodent-proofing process, you can secure your home, workplace, or campsite from these carriers. Before we start, you will need a few basic supplies: standard household cleaning products, materials for sealing holes like caulk or steel wool, and conventional rodent traps. Cleaning up food sources and sealing structural gaps makes a house physically difficult for rodents to inhabit. It replaces the chance of exposure with a series of deliberate barriers. Step 1 focuses on the interior of your living space.
We start in the areas most vulnerable to infestation, the kitchen and the pantry. Your first action is to clean up any easily accessible food. Wipe down all surfaces and sweep the floors to remove loose crumbs. This split screen shows the difference between a kitchen with accessible attractants and one that has been cleared. Leaving unsealed food bags on the counter creates a reason for rodents to enter. Moving everything into tightly sealed containers removes that incentive. Rodents enter human spaces driven by biology. They are actively searching for their next meal. By removing the food source, you eliminate their primary motive for invading your home before they even make the attempt. Now that the inside is clear, Step 2 shifts our focus to the exterior perimeter of the home. You need to conduct a comprehensive walk-around of your property. Look for and physically seal any holes, gaps, or structural breaches in the foundation and walls. The most frequently overlooked vulnerability point is often right at ground level. A gap as small as a quarter beneath an unsealed garage door is wide enough for a mouse to squeeze through. The garage acts as a primary staging ground. Once inside, rodents are sheltered from predators and weather, allowing them time to probe for weaknesses into the main house. It must be sealed with the same rigor as your front door. While Step 1 removes the motive for rodents to visit, Step 2 creates a physical fortress that blocks access regardless of their intent. Step 3 establishes your active defense layer. This handles any rodents that manage to bypass your perimeter security or are already inside. Set your traps indoors along the baseboards and walls. Rodents rely on their whiskers for navigation and naturally travel along these physical boundaries rather than crossing open rooms. You should also place traps directly outside the home, positioning them near any suspected entry points you identified during your perimeter check. You can measure the success of this system by monitoring the environment. When the traps remain empty over time and you stop finding new droppings, the area is clear. This trapping phase acts as your final, necessary safety net. A clear trap line is the physical proof that your first 2 steps are working. We need to address what happens if you suspect you have already been exposed to an active infestation. Hantavirus is a clinically severe pathogen. This timeline shows the progression of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. After a 1 to 8 week incubation period, early symptoms like fatigue, fever, and muscle aches mimic the flu. 4 to 10 days later, the disease escalates. Lungs fill with fluid, causing severe shortness of breath. If you experience these symptoms, you must see a physician immediately. Crucially, you must explicitly tell them that you have had recent rodent exposure. Because the early signs mimic influenza, your doctor needs that specific context. Providing your history of rodent exposure is the only way to ensure an accurate, timely diagnosis. By following this protocol, your environment is now much safer from the threat of hantavirus. You have built this defense through 3 distinct actions: removing the food attractants, sealing the structural perimeter, and setting an active trap line. We focus heavily on these preventative steps because of a stark medical reality. There is no specific cure or targeted treatment for a hantavirus infection. Medical professionals can only offer supportive care, like intubation for breathing support or dialysis for kidney function, while your body fights the virus. Since the medical community lacks a specific cure, maintaining a rodent-free environment is the most effective method for avoiding the high mortality rate associated with